All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be talking about a new demand that is rumored to be out there for Terence Crawford and what he is requiring from Errol Spence's team, the PBC, in order to make this fight. If true, this is the most wild demand yet. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division, talking about some new word on the street about a demand or request from Terence Crawford to Al Heyman and the PBC that he needs in order to make this fight with Errol Spence Jr. And it is amazing to me at the very least. Hard to believe, actually. But like I've said before, a lot of these demands that the people have been saying have been out there, have been hard for me to believe. So I'm going to talk about it, but do not believe that I necessarily think 100% that this is true because, again, just does not make sense. Now, before I get into the details, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a new subscriber, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we do more videos. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, like No Ortiz, who may not like my Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr. videos, hey, man, it is what it is, man. That's what the people want to talk about, so that's what we're talking about. But thank you so much for your support that you've given in the past in the live streams and in the super chats. It really does mean a lot to the channel. All right, so let's get into this. Errol Spence Jr., Terence Crawford fight that is being negotiated for the undisputed undisputed welterweight championship of the world. And there have been a lot of conversations around the fight and what is taking so long for the fight to be made. Now, just recently, there were talks about Terence Crawford needing to have visibility into the finances of the fight because, even though I don't understand why you would need this, because you're either going to need it or you don't need it. Because he has zero money up front, zero money guaranteed, and 35% of the net revenue from the pay-per-view. He wants to see where all the money is coming from. Another thing hard for me to get my head around, where it's coming from, and wants to know wants approval over expenses. Now, I've already done videos about why that's funny. First, if you're worried about the cost associated with the pay-per-view, why do you need to know where all of the sources of revenue are coming from? Because you're only getting paid out of one source of revenue, one stream of revenue, the pay-per-view. You're not getting paid off of the gate, off of concessions, off of the television rights in Mexico, right? So that doesn't quite make sense to me. Also, as far as getting to know approval of expenses, just administratively onerous. But this new word out here that Terence Crawford teams wants proof of funds from Al Heyman and the PBC. That is the one that makes less sense than the other ones do to me. Why would I say that proof of funds does not sound right? Because you're getting paid off of the pay-per-view revenue, and you are not getting any money. You're not getting any money guaranteed. So what do you need proof of funds for? There is no proof of revenue through pay-per-view that has not been gained yet. Now, where does this word proof of funds come from? Well, the first time we heard it being mentioned was when Anthony Joshua had received an offer from Deontay Wilder of $50 million to make a fight between the two of them. And Eddie Hearn said, we want proof that you have the money, proof of funds. So if you are going to offer me $50 million, I need to know that you actually have that money and it's in a bank account. Now, never mind that you're talking about that getting proof of funds from the PBC and Al Heyman, who have literally made the biggest pay-per-view fights and written the biggest paychecks out to boxers in boxing history, right? To require proof of funds from them. Now you have Terence Crawford. If this is true, and again, I'm saying if this is true, requiring proof of funds when he doesn't have any upfront money at all. So what are you asking for proof of funds for? That they are actually able to afford to put the fight on, right? That they're actually able to pay the undercard fighters their guarantee, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence Jr., his guarantee that you're going to actually be able to afford your camera crew to go around and film people. So on top of wanting to approve the expenses, you want proof that the money is there and they can actually afford to pay it out to begin with. Proof of funds. What sense does that? That's just very, very hard for me to get my head around. So hard for me to get my head around that I, again, have a hard time believing that that is a legitimate reason for why the fight is not being made. Now, where people could say before that, of course, you need to know what the expenses are if you're going to get paid out of the net. Who doesn't want to make sure that they're not getting robbed? Okay. That makes sense, but the approval portion of it doesn't make sense. However, even the transparency into it there's ways to work around that. But for you to say that you need to know that they have the money to pay people other than yourself to put the fight together, that to me just sounds like you're just throwing stuff up on the wall and seeing what will stick, right? And again, trying to talk your way out of the boxing match. Again, there's a lot of rumors that fly around about this fight. A lot of people use phrases incorrectly. Like, for example, when people were saying that this fight was signed, that Terence Crawford had signed the deal. Obviously had not signed it because they were still documenting the agreement. So what was there for him to sign? For them to say that they agreed to all terms. Well, obviously you didn't agree to all terms because you still are asking for transparency and you're asking for approval over expenses. So if you are still asking for those things, those are still terms. So the parties did not agree to terms, right? And if you're adding additional terms to the agreement, you didn't agree to the terms as is. You want modifications to the terms, right? You want extra things put in there. So that's not agreeing to terms. That's saying you want the terms modified. You want additional terms. You want terms in addition to the ones that you agree to. So, maybe it is that people are just using the words wrong. But if you're using them correctly, I mean, can we just move on to the next fight? Because asking for proof of funds on top of asking for approval of expenses and people have said this in the chat before, like, what is it about Al Heyman that is so untrustworthy where you don't need that where nobody else needed that for him before and nobody asked that type of stuff of any other promoter? It's amazing conversations going on about this fight where I never thought it would, and taking it to places where I never thought it would go. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.